You have been listening to Wab Kinew, the Premier of Manitoba, talking about the very dire and serious wildfire situation in that province, particularly in the northern part of the province in Flin Flon, where everybody is out except for firefighters on the ground, as well as a few others, as well as some concerning situations in First Nations communities, including Pukatawagan, and more personnel, firefighting personnel, coming from across the country, but also from the United States. I want to bring in the CBC's Mark Carcasole, who's been listening along with me to the Premier here. Obviously concerning, and he says it's going to become even more concerning throughout the day.
Yeah, he had said when the state of emergency was declared in his province that this could lead to the evacuation of 17,000 people from their homes. They didn't quite reach that threshold yet, but with things just getting worse, he said today they're likely to reach that 17,000 person threshold later on today, possibly tomorrow. He told Manitobans we need to be calm. That's a direct quote. He quoted that old adage, keep calm and carry on. But it is an obviously stressful situation for so many, and the Premier himself. He talked about needing more equipment, more people, more resources, frontline and support staff from the federal government. He talked about the help that the province has been getting, firefighters from other provinces and now even other countries, with 125 personnel coming in from the U.S. That's 100 specialized firefighters, 25 support staff, as well as some equipment, 2 helicopters, he believed, Colombian helicopters, but deployed from the U.S. And in the individual territories within Manitoba, he gave slight updates on some of the problem areas. Flin Flon, obviously, something we've been tracking for the last couple days. Everyone is out there now, including city officials, the mayor, the councillor. The mayor had spoken to News Network earlier today and said they were set to clear out earlier today, and now they have, and they weren't sure about what they would be coming back to because they spoke about the winds changing, at one point favorable, now flipping back and pushing the fire closer to Flin Flon again. At last check, that fire was somewhere around 40,000 hectares in size and less than 2 kilometers away from Flin Flon. The town of Sheridan, a city that we've profiled over the last couple of days, population 85, 13 firefighters amongst that population who had stayed behind to try to do some protection of properties. Lynn Lake, obviously, getting mentioned there, and then the First Nations as well. Pimichikamak, where people have been evacuated to Norway House First Nation. It's become overcrowded there. They've had to have the armed forces fly in and try to help clear people out there a little quicker. Marcel Colombe First Nation, Pukatawagan got a lot of mention there as well because things have gotten a lot worse overnight. There have been many calls for help there. The armed forces have had to step in and help out there as well. The airport was at risk at one point. It seems as though they've been able to secure that, but major issues there as well. And then you've got all these people evacuating mainly to places like Winnipeg, Thompson, the Pas, again, Norway House and Portage La Prairie, which is going to create space issues in those places. So they're asking anyone, any hotel rooms that are available, doesn't seem like there's many, but any large-scale venues, sports stadiums, wherever the case may be, where they can house people to step up and offer help.
And Mark, thank you. And the CBC's Mark Carcasole. And as we've been speaking, the wildfire situation is concerning in Manitoba, Saskatchewan, parts of Alberta, as well as in Ontario. And just as we were speaking, there is now local states of emergency in two communities in northwestern Ontario, in Deer Lake First Nation. And forgive me if my pronunciation is incorrect, but I do want to get the information out there. Wabekwe as well. So in those 2 northwestern Ontario communities, so the situation is obviously spreading to a huge part of this country. We're going to go back now to Manitoba, where we're going to, as we've just mentioned, hundreds of people in the Pukatawagan First Nation. They are trapped by a nearby wildfire waiting to be flown out, and the armed forces helped evacuate a few hundred people from Pukatawagan yesterday. But last night, the airport was closed because of smoke, and the CBC's Rosanna Hempel is following the story and joins us live from Winnipeg. So, Rosanna, what is the latest on those evacuation efforts?
Well, Andrew, from what I've heard directly from people in the community today is that there are still hundreds of frightened and panicked people waiting in the center of Pukatawagan to get that helicopter ride out. I did have a conversation with Chief Gordy Bear, last night. He told me that, as you mentioned there, the airport had closed, that it was smoked out, and he told me then that there were still 2,000 people waiting in the community. Now, I did hear from my conversations today is that the neighborhoods surrounding the airport closed and that people have been crowding further into the center of the community, staying with family, camping out. I spoke with Serena Moore. She's a lifelong Pukatawagan resident. She says that she's hosting 28 people in her house. She was up for most of the night last night, completely stressed out, and this is what she saw.
But the communication is like literally non-existent. We just wait for an update or something. Like most of the time, past 2-3 days, we've been left in the dark. And people are just like more scared, unsure, because we see the fire and we know that we're not going to get anywhere.
So that was a different clip, but it will be relevant later. Moore did tell me that she and her family are still waiting in the town to be flown out.
So, Rosanna, I mean, this is a very serious, concerning situation. So is the information, I just want to be clear. So are there still a couple of thousand people that are waiting to get out, that are kind of boxed in, that are needing those helicopters in and out?
I don't have exact figures, Andrew, but we are, as far as I know, it is still a few hundred people. I've been told that people are kind of waiting at the youth center in town for those helicopters. We've gotten video of those helicopters flying in and out. I did have another conversation with the chief this morning. He told me that, as we heard the premier say as well, that helicopters are going into the community and they're transporting people to the PA, which is 200 kilometers to the south, so a decent chopper ride away. He did tell me, and the premier confirmed it there, that some planes have been able to get into the community. The chief did tell me this morning that the smoke has subsided a little bit. I did also speak to another resident, Rose Linklater, and she says that the last few days have been absolutely chaotic and hectic, and that she has had very little communication from the chief and council and the emergency management organization on the ground.
Well, we heard, sounded like an explosion. That's why we went outside, and when I went outside, there was a lot of things falling from the sky, and I didn't know what it was until I turned my light on my camera and I seen the ashes, and it was very scary.
So I have been in touch with these women this morning. I did ask them to let me know when they're getting that helicopter ride out. I have had no word. As far as I know, they're still there. They did tell me that if the situation gets worse, they do have access to boats, so that is an option to them. Premier is saying the airport is not damaged, so it sounds like that could be an option as well. We are expecting a press conference in the next few minutes with some First Nations leaders, including the chief. So we are hoping to get some more exact numbers on how many people have been flown out and how many people still need to get to safety. Andrew.
Rosanna, thank you. That is the CBC's Rosanna Hempel live in Winnipeg.